Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. I'm Ethan Janney. See you out there on Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to let in our live participants as well on Zoom. Hey everyone here on Zoom. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. Good to have you back again this lovely day as we wrap up the summer and head into the fall. I'll give an intro to the program and then we'll begin speaking with our esteemed guest for today. This is Piano Tech Radio Hour. If it's your first time here, I'll give you the lowdown. We gather here every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world, including manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, and of course piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, to help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses. That's an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. You can also subscribe to Radio Hour, just $16 a month. You get direct access to each week's private Zoom call, as well as all the archival recordings of over 200 episodes in our member area. You can join using the link bit.ly/joinptrh, that's bit.ly/joinptrh. We also have a podcast audio-only version of the program, which you can find at pianotechradio.com. We've reached top 100, top 10, even number one status in various locales in the performing arts category in iTunes. We also have a Substack blog where you can check out insider information in text and image form that can be sought in more detail in our member area at the master classes. Right now we host detailed information on advanced piano technology techniques, as well as interesting lectures on everything from the neuroscience of instrument practice to conducting and composing. And then you can also check out our socials. We have Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you go to our website, pianotechniciansmasterclass.com, where you can sign up for our email list with just your name and email and stay abreast of everything that's going on with Piano Tech Radio Hour. So now, without further ado, I will introduce today's guest. His name is David Barry. His work as a performer, composer, arranger, and educator brings a particular curiosity to the piano, whether shaping concert arrangement of spirituals, creating solo piano hymn arrangements, or helping students explore multi-style improvisation. He continues to find different ways for the instrument to tell a story, from performing at Carnegie Hall and Merkin Hall to premiering new works by James Lee III and Adolphus Hailstork. Barry has built a career that moves comfortably between established repertoire and new musical voices. He is Associate Professor of Music and Chair of the Music Department at Eastern Mennonite University, Artistic Director of the Shenandoah Valley Bach Festival, and co-chair of the Artistic Advisory Committee at Gateway Music Festival. And he's a graduate of Juilliard School in New York, as well as the Eastman School. All right. Welcome to the program, David. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I want to make sure your volume is coming through okay. Say something one more time.
Can you hear me?
I feel like I can hear you okay. Folks in the audience can let us know whether they're getting a great signal or not. For me, it was a little bit better a moment ago.
Oh,
Is that a thumbs down, Rip? Yeah. Can we turn you up or maybe get you closer to the mic or something? I'm sorry.
let's see.
For some reason, it was working a little bit better a moment ago.
How's this? Is this any
That's
better?
better. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's just, I guess we'll just be close. Well, welcome to the program. I'd love to launch off with the first question that I generally ask folks, and that's kind of to go back down memory lane and hear a little bit about your childhood experiences with music and how you first got involved, and then also how you started to realize, hey, this might be my life.
Yeah, well, I started piano at the age of 5 years old. So actually, maybe I don't always tell the story exactly like this, but maybe here it's appropriate. Uh,
Yeah.
I we moved into a new house, and we hadn't previously had a piano. I was maybe 3 years old at the time. So we moved into a new house, and that piano already had a that house already had a piano in it, sort of an old upright. And so it was either they were going to throw it away or they would sell it to us for, I think, $50 or something like that. This is 1980s, so but still pretty cheap. And so we bought it. My parents, love music, especially my dad was a musician, played electric guitar, so kind of gospel music, blues, southern kinds of musical styles on electric guitar. But he knew a Ray Charles song on piano, and so he taught that to me.
Wait,
Um,
wait, wait. Let's see. Hit the road jack. No?
Oh, no, like
No?
what'd you say? What I say? That do 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 do.
Okay.
Because you
Okay.
could do
Oh,
it all
baby,
on the
what I
black
say?
keys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it.
yeah, yeah. You do it all on black keys. So that was the first song I ever learned on piano. Um, and yeah, from there I started piano lessons. Had a really great teacher who was also a conductor and obsessed with Beethoven. He taught me piano all the way up until I met my teacher at the Eastman School of Music. So up until through high school, all the way through high school. So yeah, developed a love for classical piano, classical music, and especially Beethoven through that teacher. But like I said, my father played blues and gospel, all kinds of other musical styles and influences were around, including in church and everything like that. So they all sort of sat with me through the years.
Interesting. Yeah. And yeah, you have a very interesting mix of kind of like high refined classical, which is its own domain of expertise and like a community of listeners and a tradition and then like you said, more kind of like a traditional popular American, almost like folk music uh, side of what you do. And it's interesting you feel like you found interesting ways to bridge the two things. Is it, have you, I guess, what's your approach to um, putting things together as versus like keeping them independent?
Yes, that's interesting because in some ways I think I am a um, purist, not in a rigid sense, but I like to hear those styles in their most authentic form. Like if I'm listening to the blues, I love like Howlin' Wolf and Albert King and BB Buddy Guy. All of those legends. I love what people did after them too, but there will always be a place for those musicians. Similarly, in a very different style of music, I run a Bach festival. I am a pianist. I've studied some harpsichord. It's not my primary instrument, but the principles of early music sort of always resonated with me, and some of those just things about timing and space and phrasing that go along with that have always been important to me in thinking about Bach, or with Beethoven, sort of some of the text issues and performance practice. I've always found interest in that kind of thing. So no matter what like sphere of music or performance tradition, kind of the essence of it and like where it's from in its core, like most pure form, has always interested me. And so that's the part I know. The part about how they come together is a little bit of a, I won't say a mystery for me, but I think it's just all the types of music that have lived in me um, come together. I guess what's organic is what guides me. So when I write my pieces, I rarely do I think, well, I want a little bit of this ingredient and that ingredient, a little blues, a little. It's sort of like what comes next that feels most organic, and and it's sort of come together in ways where traditions have been bridged and pieces are right.
Yeah, interesting. Um, I would also love to shift gears a little bit. You and I talked before we started, and I knew this from your bio that you had spent, you went to Juilliard. You spent significant time in New York. I think you said maybe a decade or more.
Mhm.
Um, I always love to talk about that influence. So we're talking about Syracuse, New York, you're growing up, that's more of kind of like, that's not the city, that's not the urban environment of metropolitan New York per se, but I'm sure it felt like it was just around the corner being in the same state. Um, and now you're in Pennsylvania, but tell me about the years in New York and how that kind of came together, because that is a place where things mix together for sure. All these
Yeah.
different traditions, right?
I'm in VA now, Virginia,
Oh,
but
you're in Virginia now.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. But I've
got it.
spent some time up in PA too, so
Okay.
not crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, I see. You said, yeah, okay. So you said, I was trying to put the two things together. So
yeah.
Harrisonburg,
That's yeah,
Harrisonburg. Okay,
yeah.
all right,
How you
right.
got
It's like,
there?
is it
Yeah.
Harrisburg or is it Harrisonburg?
Mhm.
And when I think Mennonite, I think Pennsylvania. So I just assumed.
Of course.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
but yes, go on.
Yeah. No, tell me that. Say that one more time. New York and
Oh yeah, I would just love to hear from you, kind of the experience of being in New York for that decade or more, and how that contributed to the different things coming together or not,
sure.
because it's such a place where things do come together.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, um, because I moved to New York after undergrad to go study at Juilliard. So I was there for my master's and doctorate, but then continued to live in New York and sort of really started my professional career while living there. So when I went to Juilliard, it's interesting because the way the building was structured, at least at that time, I went there studying classical piano. It was sort of like, I think maybe um, dance and acting was the third floor. The fourth floor were practice rooms. I think I've got the floors right. And the fifth floor was like private studios and stuff like that. Um, and so on the fourth floor, you'd have sort of all the musicians there were. It's not a huge space. Um,
Hmm.
and so, you'd have all the jazz pianists, jazz musicians, classical musicians all playing together. It wasn't so much the classroom spaces were a little bit by wings and stuff like that, but you just came across a lot of people. So I would hang out quite a bit. I did this in undergrad too, but at Juilliard and in New York with jazz musicians a lot. We'd go and find two piano rooms and play. I'd play them a Rachmaninoff etude, then they'd play me something by Duke Ellington. And so, yeah, I had some good friends at that time. And one of the guys I used to hang out with and do this a lot with was John Baptiste, if you know his
Oh yeah,
name. Yeah.
we've heard of him.
So we were there at the same time, and he put me on all kinds of New Orleans pianists, and we do classics. And so yeah, that just a good example of kind of like how sort of some natural ways things can just come together and styles kind of merge together when you're really studying in depth kind of one particular thing, but then you go in the practice rooms and start getting ideas and getting together. And obviously just being in New York right there at Lincoln Center, the opera, the ballet, everything's right there, the subway, street musician, I mean, there's no lack of inspiration musically.
Yeah, yeah, even the street musicians, as you said. Um, I guess I didn't realize Jean Baptiste went to Juilliard. He was there. Was he at the same? Was he studying like undergrad, grad at the same time, or was
So
it a
I think
different?
so. He and I started the same year there. I was a master's student. He was an undergrad student, but we,
Okay,
became good friends then and everything. Yeah.
okay, yeah, fascinating. Have you been in New Orleans by chance?
I have not spent much time there. I've been through a lot for performances, where it
Hmm.
was sort of like I just stopped in and played
Right.
and went through.
Yeah, you
But
never get to really
I need
get a
to
taste
spend
for it.
more time just not playing, just walking around, experiencing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd love it. I really enjoy New Orleans. I for some reason ran into a couple people from there, over the past few months and had some interesting conversations, but it's musical history, just walking the streets and especially if you appreciate that kind of American songbook, and it's
Hmm.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, I need some of that.
Uh, would love to welcome. We have a few people who also just joined the audience soon, guys. Thanks for joining. Sorry for you were waiting a minute, but appreciate you jumping in the Zoom call. Um, I'd love to take a minute and check out one of the examples of your work that you had shared. Does anything come to mind, within the conversation context so far that might be a good? I've got the live stream from April
Yeah.
2026. I've got the Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho, and I've got the Dance Andalus.
Yeah, maybe given what we've been talking about, maybe the Joshua fought the Battle of Jericho shows that a bit.
Okay, yeah, let's check that out. All right, I'll do a screen share. We'll take a listen and a look, and we'll come back in a minute. Any other context on this,
Yeah.
performing this piece or kind of choosing this piece or getting into it?
This recording is a little bit older. It may even be COVID era, just sort of in my office. I made the recording, but it's I've been arranging, composing my whole life, and this was something I did for one of my own recitals. But I'm actually now fast forward. It's going to be the first track on an album I have coming out pretty soon, couple weeks.
Okay, let's check it out. Oh, I got it on mute. Let's make that. Let's change that. All right. Well, you took that little upright studio piano about as far as it could go.
Our techs have been in for a few broken strings here and there.
That's the broken strings. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds about right. Oh, nice. Yeah, it looks like was that a Baldwin upright, or do you even know?
Yeah, it is a Baldwin.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's like the workhorse, those Baldwins that have that signature kind of shape as well.
Practice them.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was almost orchestral. Yeah, have you made an orchestral arrangement of this, yeah, or is it just the piano?
Yeah, no, I haven't yet, but I think I just naturally write that way, and a lot of my pieces come out, like I said, that maybe it was that early love of Beethoven and that
Yeah.
brought that out. But yeah, I need to. People have sort of more from the band world said, there's a band arrangement in there,
Oh
so
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah,
or the other, but I need to do that, I think.
yeah. That as well for sure. Um, and then on a piece like that, is that literally score? Do you score it kind of note for note? Is there some improvisation in there? What's the approach to, putting it on, putting it down for the record? Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because for many of my pieces, I'll the piano's a big part of my process. I'll be at the piano.
Hmm.
I do improvise. I play other styles, but improvise classically and all of that. So sometimes that's the genesis of an idea. Obviously, that one's based on a spiritual. There's a pre-existing melody. But then after that, the process of composition is very much. Um, I'm thinking of development. I'm thinking of sort of key relationships and things like that. So I'll get ideas, but then they're sort of put into a process of composition like that at the piano and away from the piano in my mind. And I find that by the time I'm done with that process, I'll have the piece playable and memorized note for note uh,
Hmm.
without having written everything down. So a lot of times, I mean, there'll be note for note. I'm not improvising unless there's a piece I've written a section in for improvising, and then I'll need to
Right.
go back and make the score, make the
Make the
score,
score. Okay.
match.
Right. So it's more, I mean, because it's reminiscent of, a jazz record, right? Where somebody does the same thing. They said, I made an arrangement of this. And traditionally they would not write it down, right? They would expect someone else, maybe they want to transcribe it. They can't, but I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily going to write it out. But you take the approach, like I've made this a composition and I do want to write it out
mhm.
to record like what the piece is. Yeah. Even
Yeah,
though it's kind of already in your head.
yeah. I mean, it's already exists as a score. It's just not on paper yet. There's sort of
Yeah.
more like that. And then people have asked me about playing these pieces, and so then that prompts me to, not just have it in
Yes.
my head, but actually put it down. And then other
Yes.
people recorded that one, so it was nice to kind of hear other
Yes.
approaches to that. So,
Yeah. It feels very natural though. It feels almost improvisational, especially at
oh,
times. And I could see myself, also when you write it down, then if you do have some improvisational part of it, it almost like pulls you into like, oh, I'm committing to this. I'm not gonna change this part, or this
for
is how the
sure, yeah.
piece goes, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, very nice. Um, maybe let's check another thing that you shared. We had those two other things. Did you have a
Um,
thought?
yeah, that one kind of showed sort of that fusion of
Mm-hmm.
worlds a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more of a lot of things. Um, I like uh deep if there were romantic era. I won't even
Mm-hmm.
limit it to like era in time. I'll say expressive music.
Mm-hmm.
And with these spirituals interpreting the text and what it was the text saying, sometimes I feel like a motherless child, right? So
Sure.
so this one's a little bit different. It lives a little bit more in kind of, maybe you might compare it to Liszt or Rachmaninoff, but it still draws from that world of spirituals and that sound world as well. So maybe that'd be a good one. Contrast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And which
Oh,
what's the
that's the
one
live
called?
stream one.
That's
Yeah.
the last room one. Okay.
Able.
Yeah, let's check that out. Go view, screen. Go. I'll pause it there so we have a chance to chat a little bit more. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really appreciated that. It reminds me of how sometimes I studied jazz. I was at Rutgers University. I studied jazz piano, and uh, I don't get to play and perform that much. But every once in a while, I will just have a piece, like just a piece, a melody of some sort, and
Mm.
I'll just play the bejesus out of that. I'll put it in the different keys. I'll try it as this style. I'll try it as that style. And it's uh, it's very, I don't know. I find it very rewarding, and it also connects you with the fact that like a melody or a chord progression, it has its own essence
Mm.
outside of genre, right? And then you can take all these things. So the way
Totally.
when you were playing it and the way you set it up, oh, the romantic, and I could tell, I think you have these things under your fingers that are like romantic approaches to things, right? And it's almost natural to say, oh, hey, I have this melody that I also play this way. And oh yeah, if I were Rachmaninoff, what would I be doing, right? Is that
Hmm.
is that kind of the experience?
Yeah, that it's kind of like all of these different styles, and like you said, living with a melody is important.
Hmm.
Playing it in different keys. The resonance is different in a different uh key in a different part of the piano. Like that one, I could hit some octave low B flats, which is my favorite note on the piano. There's just something about it's not the lowest. You could go lower, but there's something about that
Hmm.
resonance that I hear
Right.
in my chest. I don't know, like Brahms
Mm-hmm.
B flat piano concerto. There's like I don't know. There's all kinds of things, and that piece, in that key, I don't know if I would have written the same thing had I started in a different key. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
sort of like
Absolutely.
it's how some of these things lie under the fingers and things
Yep.
like that. And then kind of, yeah, it's like if I'm thinking about the lyric, sometimes I feel like a motherless child and what's that expressive world,
Mm.
then I think sort of naturally composers like Rachmaninoff and Liszt and sort of the sound world, the aesthetic, everything they come from, but also the blues and that since you're a jazz guy, I'll talk a little bit. Sharp four,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
on the way down of Motherless Child. What does
Hmm.
that mean? And then are there harmonic implications there? So it's a mix of just raw feeling it in your bones, and then what are the musical styles you become accustomed to learn how they speak to that feeling.
Yes. Yes. And I appreciate your approach. I mean, I was literally thinking as I was listening to it, it can go so wrong. Basically, the worst place it can go is elevator music, right? It's like they have these melodies and then they put it together, and you're like,
Yeah.
what is this? This is not music. But I feel
Yeah.
like you've done a very good job of it doesn't feel contrived, it just feels very natural. So I appreciate that. You have that skill, and it's
Thank
probably
you.
somewhat natural and somewhat developed, of course. Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Um, So yeah, appreciate it. I know I mentioned to you, and I had mentioned to listeners, we may wrap up a little bit early today, maybe in a couple of minutes. Would you like to visit one more recording for a moment, or do you want to sort of walk it out now, or do you feel that I had that third thing? Should we check out a little bit of it, or
Sure. Yeah. This isn't one of my own pieces. Those two
okay,
are will be on my album I have coming out September 4th, Spirit, Body, and Soul, Concert
okay,
Spirituals for Piano. So all kind of my spiritual arrangements. This one is a piece called Dans Andaluz by Cuban composer Joaquin Nin.
okay,
So it's just a really amazing piece. I love playing it. So just another
okay.
song, what I do.
All right, let's pull that up. I'll make sure I got it queued up here. Dots under loose. Okay, perfect. Share that. Like that one. Nice
Yeah,
choice.
yeah, yeah.
What's the era of the composer?
He lived kind of like the early 20th century. Late, I
Okay.
mean, kind of maybe half his life was in the late 19th to early 20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, it's almost got that like flamenco type of feel to it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's definitely kind of guitar effects. Gotta make
Yeah.
sure no can't the action can't be sloppy that day, right? You
No, definitely not.
get those
And that
repeat.
one note's got to be
That's
really
that,
stabilized.
that's right.
Um, Very nice. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you and learning to appreciate your music and sharing it with us. I'll share one more thing just because it came up in my thoughts and I don't know if you've heard of have you heard of a Clavin's piano by chance? Clavin's pianos.
I don't know. Clavins, yeah, tell
Check
me.
out a Clavin's piano. I don't know why, maybe it's just a little associative thing I have. It's a unique type of an instrument
Hmm.
designed by a gentleman named David Clavins. He started designing pianos back, in the 80s or something.
Same
And
like Clavinova, same world.
no, I mean, no, it's not affiliated.
Okay.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that his name has that in it. But no, just Clavins,
Okay.
Eastern European, and we've had him on the program a couple times. But first of all, he designed a piano. You climb a staircase to play it. So it's basically taking a grand piano and turning it into an upright piano in such a way that you can make the strings, even the bass strings, longer than you even can on a traditional grand piano.
Ooh.
Um, and it has a very unique sound. And I thought of it mostly on the first composition for some reason that it would sound very good on it. It has a somewhat cinematic type of feel, and the way the strings resonate with one another are different because the scaling is by the nature of the design different than on a traditional piano. Anyway, check it out. You can find them. They're not super common, but you can find these pianos around.
Yeah,
Um,
now I want to play that the way you
yeah, yeah, check it
described
out. Check
it.
it out. If you need any help finding one, let me know.
For sure.
But yeah, beyond that, it's been a pleasure. Was there anything else you wanted to share before we walk it off?
Um, no, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm excited about the album. Heard a couple selections there, so I'll be on all streaming platforms. So yeah, Spirit, Body, and Soul, Concert Spirituals. Check it out.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you. We've reached the end of another musical journey here at Piano Tech Radio Hour, as I always say. And we want to, of course, thank you for joining us as our guests, as well as our live audience. Thanks, guys, for jumping in as you typically do. We love to have you here as an audience. As always, this is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses. That's cutting edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. And for those that might have joined us for the first time today, or sign up for the session individually, you can make your life more convenient. You can subscribe to Piano Tech Radio. It's just $16 a month. You get direct access to today's session in a member area, as well as automatic registration for each week's new session. You can sign up at bit.ly/join PTRH, bit.ly/join PTRH. Also, don't forget about the podcast audio only version at pianotechradio.com. You've got our Substack where you can find some interesting tidbits of information. And then you've got our socials linked in Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And finally, our email list, which you can sign up for at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com with just your name and email. And with that, we'll be signing off. David, if you want to just, after we sign off, jump back on the Zoom link, you and I kind of have a quick wrap up chat. And besides that, again, thanks everyone for showing up today, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.